Come on, FC Halifax Town. Shaymen!
Evening, everybody, and welcome back to another edition of the Talking Shaymen podcast. I believe we're on episode 13 as we preview our game versus, I'm getting mixed up, Dover Athletic now. Now, before we do go any further, we've got our guests on tonight. We've got ShaymenStats joining us. How are you doing, ShaymenStats?
Yeah, I'm fine. Yeah, I'm good. Obviously, we've spoke off air a little bit and done a few, we've had a little chat off air, but yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine.
We've also got Rob. We're also joined by Rob Brown. Rob, how are you doing?
I'm good, thank you. I'm doing the entire interview tonight with a bucket balanced on my head. It's a bucket we use for collecting team sheet money on Saturdays, so I'm hoping not to drop it, but I'm doing all right so far.
And we've also got Lewis Walsh with us. Lewis, how are you doing?
I'm doing very good, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
So we're looking forward to Saturday's game then.
I think so. I mean, I think we've seen what teams are capable of doing against Dover. I mean, we saw last week Barnet get 6 past them, and ultimately we do have to look at it as a game where we can boost our goal difference, and because let's be honest, that's what we're going to make the difference come the end of the season.
Dover haven't won away from home all season. Now I don't want to jinx it. ShaymenStats, what is your positivity levels confidence levels? Sorry, going into the game on Saturday.
I mean, they've got to be high, but you've just said they haven't won away from home. But Dover are officially relegated, I believe, following that 6-0 result. So they essentially don't have anything to play for. So I mean, they're still, what are they on -4? They still aren't even on 0 points yet. So we've got to be lucky to take all 3.
Rob, what are your thoughts going into Saturday's game then?
I think it's a tricky game, to be honest. When we played down there, they equalised with about 10 minutes to go, and we managed to get 2 late goals, but they weren't rubbish. You know, these players are still 11 players, and they still give it their all. So nothing's guaranteed. Obviously, you know, we hope for a victory, but you know, it's still a tricky one.
Right then, now before we move any further, we're going to talk a bit about the Weymouth game. We've got a few more supports information that we've got to go through too. Now, we've got some giveaway news that we're going to be doing another giveaway. Obviously, we did one a few months back now. Well, before we do move on to the actual giveaway, have we got any new supporters club information?
We have. We've got some new hats and scarves available this Saturday, as you can see on there. Initially, we just got a small batch of them to see how well they sell. But I've seen the photos; they look absolutely fantastic. Color badges as well. We've got programs for sale. We've got team sheets for sale. We're also collecting donations just if you got any old change and that sort of stuff. You know, don't be afraid to come and empty your copper and give us all your loose change you collected in the week. Some fans do that; it's brilliant. But we've got badges. We've got all sorts, and Phil's done a wonderful job with listening to people and doing what they want. We've also got some enamel badges on order as well. They're going to be really exciting. We've got 2 varieties of them coming. So, yeah, these scarves and her caps look brilliant.
Moving on then. Now, as we are talking about these scarves and hats, etc., I've agreed with Rob to do a giveaway. Now, I'm going to purchase one of these items, whichever one the giveaway winner wants, and I'm going to allow you to have this. Now, all you've got to do is like and subscribe. So like on this video and also subscribe to the YouTube channel. And we are hoping to probably announce it on Sunday's podcast if possible. However, we could possibly suspend that for a future podcast if other people are trying to get involved, etc. And basically, all you've got to do is like and subscribe on any video, subscribe to the channel, and you're in. Comment done on any social media, and then, you're basically in the giveaway. So what we've got here, I will allow Rob to explain it. Rob, what have we got here then?
So we've got some caps for summer. So at the moment, you're aware we have bobble hats and beanie hats for winter. These caps are great for summer, going on your holidays. We've got the colour crest of the supporters club as well, which is great for the first time. And the scarf's also a lightweight scarf as well. So it's not designed for them cold winter nights. It's designed to be able to show you colours when when it's still a bit warm in the spring and early autumn. So, but they're really good. And again, we've done it because people have said, "Have you got any caps? Have you got any scarves?" And Phil's gone, "Yeah, I'll sort them out for you." So we'll listen to what people say, and if they sell well, we'll get some more.
Yeah, brilliant then. So I think that more or less concludes the supporters club and giveaway news. We'll talk a bit more about that on our social medias. So yeah, that's more or less it then. We've also got a bit more news on some possible Shaymen legends news. Now, I think a lot of you probably who are watching this are aware. I'm actually privileged enough to be interviewing Jamie Patterson on Sunday morning, and this should hopefully be coming out on Sunday night. Obviously, well, I'll allow ShaymenStats to talk a little bit about this in a second, as he is the statter. But it is a brilliant player for FC Halifax Town in that 98 season and spent a long period of time with the club. Now, for anyone who's wondering, the reason that it isn't live is because, unfortunately, Jamie lives in Melbourne, which is in Australia, which means there's like 11 hours time difference. So it's quite hard to get an interview sorted where it'll be live at 8 p.m, etc. And I don't believe too many people would be interested in watching it early on Sunday morning. So this should probably be out on Sunday evening for anyone who is interested in the interview. You can send all your questions in via the social medias. We've got plenty already, and we'll choose the best ones. Thank you. So, ShaymenStats, what were your thoughts as a player of Jamie Patterson then, as well, on this topic?
So, I mean, just due to my age, I got sort of introduced to Jamie Patterson at his second spell at the club. Obviously, as you'll know, Luke, as we all know, it's a Scottish man. So he is an adopted Shayman. I think he came through our youth system, though, or he certainly played for us when he was 17, 18. He'd have took Town's first relegation out of the Football League back in 1993 quite hard himself and captain Billy Barr. They were cheered off the pitch in tears. But yeah, the second time he came, scored on his home debut, rounding the goalkeeper, Welling's goalkeeper. Capped it off with what was at his time a trademark cartwheel. There were rumours that then manager George Mullall banned him from doing it to decrease his risk of injury. But yeah, if I remember rightly from the Shaymen Online days before that site went down, I think that may be coming back. Actually, a lot of talk on Shaymen.net from Hoddy that he may be getting that back up and running. But I seem to recall himself and Super Jeff Horsfield from that season. In terms of Halifax Town goals, they both managed to score roughly 50 for the club. And I mean, you're talking a struggling Town side and then a resurgent Town team, 97, 98. He was the conference player of the season. That season, he played, I think, 3 or 4 seasons when we were back in the Football League. He left for Doncaster Rovers, who were then in the conference when we got relegated to the conference, which would have been the first year that the playoffs were introduced. Jamie Patterson and Doncaster Rovers won those playoffs with Yeovil starting their rise all the way up to the Championship. But yeah, a true Town legend that, most fans can remember.
Had a very strong relationship with the fans, didn't he?
Yeah. He'd probably say he supports Halifax Town. I think he supports Celtic, but I know obviously his son still supports Town, still lives in Halifax. So still a very popular man. Like I say, a lot of love for the club. Obviously, I've shared countless bits of media. I've tagged Jamie in it, and I know he's always, really appreciative of all the footage that's been saved or collected by everybody, not just me. Anyone that can. Anyone that shared anything with him, he's always grateful for it.
That's brilliant then. We'll move on to a bit about our reaction to the Weymouth game. Now, a strong 2-0 win. Now, I know Rob went. Did any of you two go?
No, I couldn't make it down, unfortunately. So I think I'm very much going to be depending on Rob for a comment on this.
Rob for the Traveller's Tales Brown.
Go on, Rob. Tell us about the game then. We've seen the highlights, I'm sure. But
the first half was a mega cold wind. It was really strong, and I think that affected the first half. I think Weymouth had a couple of corners in the first minute. It was that sort of game, where they kicked off and ball came straight down our end. But Johnson was quite solid first half. And then second half, we created loads of chances. Waters was unlucky. At one point, he had a shot, hit the keeper's legs, went up in the air, and it's cleared off the line. But we never looked in doubt. Even at 1-0, we looked solid. A great win, and we were very happy with it, to be honest, given how tricky the weather was.
It's these sort of games where you really just have to be getting the 3 points. It doesn't matter how you win; you just need to win.
That's right. Yeah, it was absolute professional performance, and all credit to them, because not every team goes down there and wins, regardless of the fact they're in the bottom 3. Altrincham might have beaten them the other night, but they're not a rubbish team.
Yeah, they took some good points off some strong teams prior to that game. Now, how good was Zach Deanley when he came on the pitch?
Well, I don't think it was on that long before he scored, was he? It's a clever little touch to score, wasn't it? And to be fair, the ball into him as well was good. He also had the wind behind him as well, of course. But I think what was great is both goals. The players came across to the away fans, and it was a proper sort of joint effort, really celebrating, and that makes a difference, I think, sometimes. Especially away from home. Brilliant goals, and nice to celebrate with them as well.
Yeah. Great win then. Yeah, great win for the Shaymen, and it puts us in a good position. We just need to start winning our games in hands, and hopefully we can try catch the likes of Wrexham. Now, this was a question asked today. Out of you three, do you think we're still in contenders for the title race? Lewis, I'll start with you.
I think you have to still include us, but I think if you were to put it into the context of a horse race, we might be the slowest horse in that race at the moment, unfortunately. I think we might just be slipping away. So whilst I think we can challenge for it, I think we perhaps outside contenders for it now, unfortunately. So I think, but we know what Peterborough's like. We know what this squad's like. They're going to keep going until it's mathematically impossible to win the league. And if we have to settle for the playoffs, I'm sure we'll do a good job of that.
Yeah. ShaymenStats, what are your thoughts then on that? What are your thoughts thinking on to? Do you think we're still title contenders?
Well, I mean, my personal thought, rather than maybe talking about Town, I think we just need to try and finish as high as possible. And maybe highlight, I mean, are they even first and second anymore? No, obviously Stockport's still top, but Chesterfield they lost their manager, James Rowe, for, his own actions. They appointed Paul Cook, and they seem to be a bit of a sort of like a rocky period, maybe a bedding in period, but they've started putting in a couple of performances. And I mean, Stockport are just like unstoppable. I mean, they've come in like a freight train. I mean, when we beat them at the Shay, admittedly, it was early season. If you just said, by mid-January they'd be top of the league and on this run, I wouldn't have believed it. But I think Stockport are going to take some catching. There's also the added psychological pressure from a Town point of view of we have 2 games in hand on Stockport. If we win both of them, we're still with 4 points behind. And that's where it creeps in. Once you're winning your games in hand and you're not overtaking teams, if we're looking just at the title, it's a major blow, that. Yeah. But Town, for me personally, my own personal opinion is we need to finish as high as we can to guarantee ourselves a home tie in the playoffs. Yeah. We're going to have to finish above. What would we'd have to finish 3rd, 4th, or 5th? Yeah. 4th or 5th, second or third would be through at the semis. So there's the extra, there's the extra incentive to finish higher, to get just a semi-final home leg rather than having to play whatever they label them as, the playoff eliminators. We lost 2 against Boreham Wood. You don't. It's important to have home advantage. You have to remember. I mean, other than Maidenhead, who were springing surprises on the top 7 almost on a weekly basis. We've lost to Wrexham and Boreham Wood, who were both up there with us, but at the same time, we've beaten Stockport. We're pretty good at home. We've won 10 home games this season. It should be 11 after Saturday, and we've lost 3. We're not conceding at home even. Sam Johnson's kept his 100th clean sheet at Weymouth. By the way, I mean, that's just going back to that. There'll be no goalkeeper in Halifax Town history, I wouldn't have thought, that have kept 100 clean sheets. Anyone that's got that consistency pre-2008 wouldn't have been with the club that long. Glennon's second in the FCHT era, he had 68, 69, and then you're going all the way down to Jonathan Hedge, who got 45. So, it's a great individual record for Sam Johnson. And like he said in his message that he sent me, hopefully, many more to come.
I think at this point, he's almost undoubtedly the best keeper that post 2008 with, and I think even if you include like pre 2008 keepers, he's definitely in that debate for the best keeper a team representing Halifax has ever had. I think.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. Ian Dunbavin would have been up there, but me and Rob are old enough, shall we say? The Carlisle farce kind of cost him that. Lee Butler were a pretty good goalkeeper. Obviously, we had a good goalkeeper the season that we were on about, 97-98, Lee Martin. But yeah, I'd agree. In my lifetime, I'd say Sam Johnson's probably the best goalkeeper we've had.
What would you still consider as title contenders?
I would, just simply because there's plenty of games left to go, and we turned over Stockport at home. If we turn over Stockport away, we're due to do that. It's 1 point, isn't there? Potentially, and no team wins every game. So as well as Stockport are going, they'll run into some opposition. I'm sure they've got to play some of the top teams as well. They all can't win every game, So that's how we're going, but we're not out of it. It's great.
Well, but you sure you don't have positive shame and you don't run the account, because you're always positive on this account, aren't you?
Oh no, I'm not that positive. Yeah, I know he is, but he's not that. I'm not that positive. Realistic, I saw.
You're looking at Stockport there now. However, they possibly are 4 points above us, and that's if we win games in hand. And you've got other sides as well, like your Wrexhams and your Chesterfields. You've got to realise that Stockport's last 4 games in the league: Bournemouth at home, Chesterfield away, Wrexham away, and then they've got Halifax away. Now, I'm not saying this could happen. It's just a big but. Could you imagine it? Halifax versus Stockport, the last game of the season, both sides on level points. The winner gets the league.
I think that'd be quite a unique set of permutations, unfortunately. But it's a nice idea, isn't it? I think even if we were to go there with anything to play for, even if it was just the playoffs, then hopefully we'll have tied it up by then. But I think there'd definitely be a huge following at Stockport for sure.
Yeah. I think I couldn't really estimate this. However, I'm going to ask you guys about this. How long do you reckon we'd take to Stockport on the last game of the season? If, let's say, it was a game that we had something to play for, even if it was just a party that we'd actually made it into the playoffs?
I reckon you're probably looking at about, as an absolute minimum, about 700 or 800. I think if you maybe throw in the situation where we could win the league, or we had to win to get into the playoffs, and I think you are looking at about 1,000. But realistically, you're probably looking at about 700 or 800 as it stands.
The away support would be capped. You have to remember that, Luke.
Yeah.
If we played Stockport away with something to play for, Stockport would want as many home fans in that ground as possible. I think it holds. They've got over 10,000 crowd in the league, so our away support would be those seats behind that one goal. I think that is about 1,000. But if numbers weren't if numbers weren't limited and we could win the league that day, we'd probably take 2,500. But the away attendance will be capped. It took 600 when we played them on a Tuesday night in the Conference North, and Denton scored. They all count, but it was like a little. Can we remember it? A little like shimmied sort of side.
I remember that day. It was a really good goal, wasn't it?
Yeah,
but that night,
they all
remember.
It was what? Sorry,
we played in the dark till half time, didn't we? Do you remember? We had all our phones out.
Yeah, I vaguely remember it. Yeah, vaguely. I just remember the little side-footed goal from Denton. The goalie was completely flat-footed, but yeah.
They also have like a side on the side. This is where Stockport probably wanting as many home fans as possible. They have a side down the goal, and they sometimes give a section to the away fans. I think they gave it to Chesterfield and Wrexham. Now, they probably close that off for away fans if they're trying to get as many home fans in as possible. But they could also open that, and I think the actual away capacity is 2,000. So yeah, I think taking 2,000 to Stockport, if that is possible, would be brilliant.
We'll see how we're going.
Yeah, we'll see how we go on.
We've got some big away games though. Like there's a lot of local ones too where you'd expecting us to take a fair few. For example, we've got Altrincham coming up now. Are you guys going to be going to that?
I should be at Altrincham, yeah.
It's a great.
I hope to be, because I had a commitment that I could have maybe done the week of the Altrincham game, but I decided to do it the week before instead, just to make sure I'm actually at that game.
Rob, you will be going, Rob, because you go everywhere. But yeah,
Yeah, there's a chippy across the road. I won't be missing that. It's a good chippy.
Yeah.
We could be playing on the moon and Rob Brown would be there, I think.
Yeah, exactly. It'd go everywhere with Shaymen. Have you ever, I don't think it's probably ever happened. I'm sure we've played in Wales before, South. Where's the furthest one you've ever followed the Shaymen?
Well, there's probably a lot of people done the same. I mean, we've been to Torquay on a Tuesday night and way back again. We've been to Dover in the middle of Christmas a few years ago.
Yeah.
It's just where it is, isn't it? I'm missing a game on Tuesday night, by the way, home game.
Pack time.
So, yeah, I'm down in flipping Somerset, but I'm going to watch Bath City instead.
Yeah, good for you,
Bob.
Town went on a pre-season tour of Ireland in the early 2000s, and they've also done, I think that were in the mid-2000s, they've done a pre-season up in Scotland, so they've played like Livingston, I think Stranraer, so you're talking... talking Ireland.
Hamilton, one of the games as well.
Hamilton, yeah, that's it.
They're a Scottish team out there as well, and I'm guessing they went.
Yeah, they were all Scottish, yeah.
Well, did you go to that?
No, I didn't. No.
You were doing the 92, weren't you, during that period?
Yeah, that sort of time I was doing my 92, yeah. So that took a bit of my time up.
We've also got Wrexham coming up away on that Tuesday night. Now, I'm going because I don't want to miss it. I want to know because I'm quite optimistic how many we're going to actually bring to Wrexham because it's televised on TV. You're basically going to another country on a Tuesday night. Now, I'm going to be going, and I've had a lot of optimistic people have been some people are saying we're going to be taking 500. Some people are saying we're going to be taking 150. How many would you expect, ShaymenStats, first?
Well, first and foremost, don't forget your passport to get into Wales. With it being on telly, I think it will reduce the numbers, but put it this way, it'd be closer to 500 than 150. I think the Wrexham games I've gone to, and I've gone to more away than I haven't, we tend to take a good couple of hundred. We're always in that top right-hand corner.
Yeah.
I think anything over 300 is a great effort. Again, as you say, we're on BT Sport. You have to remember when it was announced on BT Sport, restrictions in Wales meant there would have been no spectators.
Yeah.
But yeah, anything over 300, I think, is a great effort to say it's on telly.
Yeah, they've actually given us an allocation of 400 at the moment, haven't they? And to be honest, I don't think we'll probably have an increased allocation. But I can see us selling a fair few. That's working about 300, 350.
Rob, how many would you expect? Because you're quite accurate, Rob, I've noticed when I've looked at a lot of the pictures.
No, don't mess about. I mean, we talk about 362 to Grimsby when it was televised, didn't we?
Yeah.
It's a similar distance. I think Wrexham's slightly nearer, but you've got to go through Lancashire, which is always a bit dodgy.
I live there, so...
Yeah. So I would say 350.
350. Yeah, I'd take that, 350. Yeah. It'd be a good away day. Are you guys personally going then?
I'm not. I'm going to watch it on telly and probably watch it like that.
Oh, yeah,
but again, Wrexham, we haven't actually mentioned Wrexham in the same sentences as Chesterfield and Stockport. Their form at the minute's red hot. They may even be second now. I haven't checked our table. If Town aren't playing, I don't really look at the table. Wrexham may even be second.
Yeah.
But beat Boreham Wood recently, which is,
they're third at the moment at Wrexham.
Yeah. There's someone I personally feel that we should be trying to catch. We've got 2 games in hand and we need to win both to go above them. Or we could win one and draw one. Now, we've got 3, I'll talk about this in a little while, but we've got 3 big home games, 3 games at home. I'll talk about pitch conditions, etc. too. But there are 3 games that we should really be expecting to win if we are in that talk about title contenders, etc. Rob, are you going to Wrexham? You will be.
Yeah, I'm going to Wrexham. Looking forward to it. Yeah, it's a decent place to eat across the road as well. I think it's the Masons. They open up their place. There's a chef there in his whites. You get a decent pie and chips, about £3, which isn't too bad. So yeah, decent.
Lewis, will you be going?
I'm actually not sure yet, because on train it's a bit awkward to get back from Wrexham on a Tuesday night. So it's a case of if I can sort something, then yeah. Otherwise, I probably won't. So I'll just have to see at the moment.
We've also got some other away games coming up. We've got the likes of Southend. Now, I've especially wanted to go to this one. We're staying down there, so I'll be going to Southend away. Will you guys be going to Southend away?
Probably not. Probably not. I would like to.
Yeah.
I would like to, but probably not.
Rob?
I'd like to as well, but I think it's probably very much dependent on how we're doing at that point. You know, if we're on a bit of a massive run, we still maybe in that title race, then yeah, probably will do. But again, just have to see.
Yeah.
There's a great chippy across the road from the away end. Really good. You can eat out on the pavement with a table. It's really good. It's a proper old-fashioned ground with, some wrought iron roofs and wooden stands and tall floodlights and that sort of stuff. It's, proper old school. There's actually some flats behind one of the stands that can look over the pitch now. So a bit of development going on there. But yes, a proper old-fashioned ground, proper atmosphere. Can't miss it, can we?
No. How many would you, and I'll just ask Rob this, how many would you expect to be going to that? Now, let's say we're in the exact same situation that we're in now, and if we win, we can go above Wrexham. We can go to third.
273. There's a lot of good Shaymen down south in that area.
Yeah.
I think we went to Barnet back in October time, was it? About 160 of us went there. But there's always a good Shaymen down south following when you get to the southeast of England. They'll be out in force as well. It's not far from London.
Sure, Mark should all be there if he's watching this. And all the regulars like Jim, etc., will be going too. I'm looking forward to that game. I went to Dagenham and we took 170 to that, so probably be expecting a few more with Southend being such a big club at this level, and it's further on in the season too. There's also a few more away games coming up that are quite fairly local. When I say fairly, about 3 hours away. Kings Lynn we've got away. I won't be going to that. Will you guys be going to that?
I'm actually not sure yet. I'll have to see if my dad's willing to drive down there. But at the moment, you have to put me down as a not sure.
Yeah,
I won't be. I wouldn't imagine. Did you know that we're the most northern club in the National League, Luke?
Grimsby not now.
No,
Grimsby, below us are in Humberside.
Yeah, it was Hartlepool.
Lincolnshire, not Humberside.
Oh, is it? All right, yeah.
Yeah, you'd be hoping no Grimsby fans are listening to you say that.
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't really care about their opinion.
Hartlepool was, I'm guessing, the most northern last season. That's it on the way talk. Now, there's also Eastleigh, but I doubt many of us will be going to that unless it is a title decider, etc. I might be going. I'll have to tell you nearer the time. But we've got 3 home games on the bounce now. Dover at home, you'd expect us to win that. Then we've got Bromley on Tuesday night, and then Torquay on the following Saturday. Now, prior to the pitch conditions, I'd be saying 9 points out of them games. I'd be expecting with the way we're playing, and you're looking at all 3 sides. However, now with pitch conditions, now I know Aussie's doing a magnificent job for the club trying to get the pitch up to great standards. However, they're not in the best conditions, are they, at the minute?
It's the same every season. Oz has been the groundsman since I think he may have even done it when he were like a teen. I mean, the guy must have done it for at the very least 30 years, and it's always been, the work he does is always exceptional. But it's always this time of year, gets rainy, and the pitch gets boggy. We all know why it's got boggy. There's nothing we can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
Unless somebody spends a lot of money and pretty much relays the pitch, sorts out like the drainage and makes it that like verter drain or whatever. It's going to take a lot of, 1, it takes time, and 2, it takes a lot of money. So the pitch never gets any rest. It's pretty much played on. Yeah. I think Oz said it's like 11 of 12 months of a year, so it has very little resting period for it to bed in. So it's just something we're going to come up against every year.
We need to just. I think the rugby doesn't help in the same situation. I know they've been complaining to Calderdale about it, and I know the football club has too. And could this be the chance where it could be the breaking point of our season with the pitch conditions? Now, could this be the difference between Halifax reaching the Football League and Halifax not reaching the Football League? Lewis, I'll ask you.
It's a case of how much we persevere through it, isn't it? Like, when we first went up from the Conference North, we ended up in a situation where we're playing Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday at one point. And whilst I imagine it'd probably be that bit harder when you're having to play teams like Torquay, Bromley, instead of, Conference North standard teams at that point. So it's a case of it could make the difference if we end up with an absolute killer run. So we just have to keep our fingers crossed that that it's not an absolute state come next month or whatever.
Rob, I'll ask you this question. Do you think it could be the breaking point of our season?
Not at all. I think this pitch is the same for both teams. I also understand that even teams with plastic pitches like Bromley, their pitch isn't as good as other teams' plastic pitches. So wherever you go, there are different quality pitches, whether it be artificial or normal, and we're all playing on the same pitch at the same time. And let's not forget, we've got some really difficult opposition. Bromley are a very good team, Torquay are a good team. And regardless of the pitch, we can't blame any results on the fact that we'd have won anyway. These teams are really good quality we're playing.
I'm just a little concerned when I look at that Barnet game. We won 1-0 and the goal came from a mistake, and on the day we were probably just a better side. However, the pitch conditions, we struggle to play our usual football like we do, that ticky-tacky football. I don't know what it was like at Weymouth. If it was just a bad performance against Barnet, there were a lot of mistakes in that game, short passes, and it concerns me, to be honest. Like Dover, they're probably going to come to the Shay on Saturday, and respectively, they're going to probably put 11 men behind the ball. Bromley are a rough side, they're physical, they're going to be a difficult side. And then you've got Torquay, who are quite similar to Bromley too. And it does concern me a little bit when you're looking at them 3 away games. And when the pitch is totally fine, I'd expect us to get 9 points from that game. However, my confidence levels do slightly drop when I look at the pitch conditions now. Hopefully they can change by Saturday. Now, before we move any further, we've had some BT announcement today. BT Sport are going to be covering Halifax Town versus Chesterfield on the telly. Now, I believe that's the supporters club's dining day, isn't it, Rob?
It is, yeah. So we'll be moving the meal to a bit later in the day, but there's still places available. People want to book onto it. It's just £40 season ticket holders, £50 if you're not a season ticket holder. It's going to be a great afternoon, and just think we'll be able to sit there having something to eat, watching other scores come in, then go out and watch the game. It's be cracking.
Yeah. That's like, I think we talked about this, Shims, that's prior to we started the podcast. There's going to be a big crowd for that game, and it's great that BT Sport are going to witness and cover this across the country and across worldwide, how strong this league is going to be against Halifax versus Chesterfield. It could be a huge, huge game when this game does kick off. Big crowd probably will be expected by then. What are your thoughts going into that game with it being on BT?
Well, it's the second time Halifax Town versus Chesterfield has been a BT Sport live game. This time, I think I can always confidently say there'll be more riding on it than the last time. Kyle Wotton glanced header for Casilo to run on for Denton equalised with both teams sort of just, Chesterfield were in a relegation battle.
It's Cosmo scored, didn't it? The first one.
Yeah, BT are obviously putting their eggs in these two are going to be promotion / playoff rivals come that day. Whatever. Obviously, the major thing with that is wherever we're at, Chesterfield will travel well, despite the fact it's on the telly. I think they'll still travel very well if there's something in the game for both. You're talking, I'd hope an absolute bare minimum of about 4,000 if there's something on it. That's taking into account Chesterfield bringing maybe 1.5 to 2. You know what I mean? Town will be a good number. The only thing that worries me with Town is big crowds at the Shay were a kind of a mixed bag. We won the Chorley playoff final, but whenever we get a big number there, we tend to not get the result. So you can definitely tell I've supported Town longer than Luke. Put it that way. Luke's like, we can get 9 points from this game, and I'm just, 9 points from these 3 games. I'm like, let's just see how we do, But hopefully it'll be a great game. It'd be good weather, as Rob said. People sponsoring the game can watch the results come in, get a bit of food, and then out to watch. I mean, imagine even if somehow Town, if results go their way, they're crowned champions without even playing, and then the game we know we're champions, it just turns into a big party. I mean, it seems unlikely, but imagine that.
Who's been over enthusiastic now than ShaymenStats?
Yeah.
My only worry though with that game being on TV is that I worry it might jinx us. Think about the games we've had on TV this season: Yeovil, Boreham Wood, Kidderminster. Well, in certain parts of the world, and
it was like extended highlights.
And Grimsby. We've not won any of those games, so I'm just thinking. Hopefully, we can lay that curse to bed that day. But to be honest, I'm not too confident given our record on TV at the moment.
Yeah.
No, we haven't got a good record.
Hopefully, it can be a good advert for non-league, though. Hopefully, we can actually get the 3 points too. Yeah, like I was saying, we've got some huge games coming up. Now, I'm going to ask you guys, because I've actually said I'd expect 6 to 9 points from the next 3 games. How many points would you expect? Now, Rob, I'll start with you. How many points would you expect from the next 3 games?
5.
Oh. 7. I'd look at maybe 7. Yeah. Hopefully we'll stay unbeaten.
Yeah.
I'm inclined to agree. I mean, hopefully we get 9, but I think 7 is very much a realistic target.
Playoff. I'd probably say playoff form. That if we did get 6 or 7, like I've said, probably about 6. And then you've got some games after that coming up. Some huge games. You've got Wrexham away, Kings Lane away, Wealdstone at home. Now I want to talk a bit about this Wealdstone game. Now it's going to be the non-league day, I believe it is. I think Alan McCoy did the trailer for this, and that should be a good crowd. I know I'm already bringing a load of my mates along to that game because of the deal they're doing. Rob, what are your thoughts on that?
I think it's actually not non-league day, Luke. I think that's the 26th when we're at Kings Lynn. I think this is the lottery game, isn't it? Where you can bring a friend.
Yeah, it's the lottery game.
Yeah. You can bring a friend. So, I've got to try and find some friends first. But, I think it's a great offer. Hopefully the lottery are paying the difference to everybody else that comes along. There's plenty of football fans near us. It'd be great if they all came along and just supported us. And it'd be brilliant, wouldn't it?
Huddersfield, Bradford, Leeds, even your sides like your Harrogates who are in the Football League now. And when you could even go as far as like Lancashire sides like Man United, Man City, their sort of fans could come along. It could be a huge crowd for that game. ShaymenStats, what's your thoughts on that?
It really does depend on the two there, the 2 main ones, or the 3 main ones, are what are Leeds, Huddersfield and Bradford doing that day.
Yeah.
I mean, even then, Bradford aren't really doing very much at the minute. Huddersfield... I blinked and Huddersfield have gone from mid-table to 2nd and 3rd. So shows how much attention I pay to the Championship. But it totally depends if they're home or away. If they're away, they can entice, fans down. It's why a lot of the lower non-league teams play games on Mondays and Friday nights to try and get those floating fans in. So.
Yeah, it makes a huge difference to Brighouse on Mondays, just having those games, doesn't it? Because I think I remember the first time they did it, I think was against one of the Ossett teams before they merged, and it was quite a good crowd that day, from what I remember.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this Wealdstone game. It is this breaking point, this part of the season where there's a lot of games where you expect quite good attendances, and even away, going away with Halifax, there should be some great attendances going away with Halifax too, shouldn't there?
I'd have thought so. As Rob says, we've got some of the longer down south games. We've got that. What could you call it? We've got that spine of Shaymen down south that always boosts the numbers when we go away from home. I mean, Shaymen down south will travel north to places like Solihull, for example, or your Kings Lynn. So, we've got supporters all over the world, literally. I mean, I've got an auntie and uncle that live in Cairns in Queensland, and they got new neighbours a few years ago, and they supported town, and that's Cairns in Australia, North Queensland. There's stories of. There's a couple of people that went with me. They went to Las Vegas. They said, look, as soon as we landed, we got onto the Las Vegas Strip. They said we both sort of strained our eyes and said, blue and white shirts look familiar, and they bumped into other Halifax town people. And I had a friend that went up the Empire State Building, and outside there were 2. Admittedly, it weren't town; it were Halifax Blue Sox, but it was like it's just crazy, absolutely crazy.
So we move on. So we move on to previewing Dover then. Now I did actually do a preview with a Dover fan. I will leave a link in the description so you can watch the full preview. It's a great chat with him. We did it a couple of weeks ago before we knew the game was going to be postponed. So if you're wanting to get a real insight onto Dover, then I would suggest going to watch that video after this podcast. But a lot has changed since that time period, especially when you're talking about predicted lineups. Now, this is my predicted lineup for Saturday's game. I did this using FanHub. It's a great initiative what they're doing. Now, if you predict the 11, you get a complimentary pint, which is where you can win a free pint when you're going to watch your local team. This is at any level. So if there is any people watching, for example, who are Stockport fans or even Huddersfield fans, etc., Dover fans, if you're watching this, you literally predict your lineup for your team and you can get a complimentary pint. This can also be changed for people like me. If you are a younger viewer watching this, you can actually get this for a soft drink. For example, if I get this correctly, I've spoke to the owner of FanHub and I will be able to get like a Coca-Cola, etc. If I win. So, yeah, it's a great initiative. But talking about predicted lineups now, a lot of you guys on Twitter have been tagging me, showing your predicted lineups. And they seem quite reasonably correct over the last couple of weeks. So hopefully we can get an accurate one. Now, this is my predicted lineup. ShaymenStats, what's your thoughts on it?
Jess Deborah at left back. I mean, he got in the non-league paper team of the week or the Vanarama National League team of the week, but Senior will have served his suspension, will he, at Weymouth for his 2 yellows against Notts County?
It was on the bench, I think.
Do you think he's going to be on the bench? I mean, you can't. I was going to say you should really have Senior in there instead of Deborah, but you don't drop somebody who, put in such a performance to get in a team of the week.
Yeah.
Durnley might bring off the bench again. I mean, if you count the West Riding County Cup game, Durnley's got 2 in 2.
Yeah.
He's even got 2 in 1 and a bit games. If he's come on as a late sub against Weymouth, but I think that's probably the best we can expect. Kieran Green probably
I'd love to see him back because I think he's great. And I thought when he first got injured, I thought we were in trouble. And Luke Summerfield's done a magnificent job, and that's why I've kept him in the team. I've included Martin Woods. Now, this is one I'm a little uncertain about with Martin Woods. Now, personally, I probably wouldn't have him in my chosen team. However, Pete Wild seems to love this man, the Scottish Perler, which I think the media team describe Martin Woods as.
The media team said when Woods came off against Weymouth, they said he pretty much got a standing ovation.
Yeah.
And massive applause from the away support again. Mm-hmm. They said that he had a fantastic match. So again, he's got to be in there.
Yeah, Rob, I'll ask you about that. Did he?
Rob was there.
Yeah, he had a great game. Yeah, I think, to be honest, everybody put a serious shift in down at Weymouth, and the fans appreciate it. I think also when you're winning as well, it sort of adds to the atmosphere a bit when people come off and use up a bit of time, doesn't it? So yeah, it's good. But just notice, Luke, even without Durnley, you've got 147 if you had all the shirts together. That's the highest you've predicted all season. That's gone are the days when it used to be 1 to 11. 147. I mean, that'll have them snookered, won't it?
Yeah. How's your maths so good, Rob?
It's not. I've got a calculator.
Oh, okay, right. You've got out with that one. But Lewis, what are your thoughts on the lineup then?
I think if that's the lineup that we did go with, you would have Deborah in the middle and Bradbury as the left back. I think that back line, those 4 defenders probably will stay as it is, because as much as you do want to see Jack Senior and his directness down that left hand side, you just cannot drop Jesse Deborah at the moment with the form he's been in. That midfield, you don't really have any other options. I don't think we'd end up dropping any of them for Jamie Thomas at the moment. And in terms of your front three, as much as I would want to see Durnley start over Allen, because Allen ultimately is better as an impact sub rather than starting from the word go, I do think that Mark probably will just keep the team as it was at Weymouth, because he won't want to change a winning team, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Oh, Zach Durnley's number 27, by the way, Luke.
Mm-hmm.
That's done, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'll just add it together now just to see. I'm not even joking. I've just added it up. I believe, unless my maths is incorrect, it is 100 it adds up to, Rob. So you've got that one. You've been caught.
Is that with or without Durnley included?
Without Durnley. So Durnley's added 27. That's 127. So
Luke, do it again. Trust me.
Okay. I'll do it again after the podcast.
Okay, it adds up to 174 now with the right shirt for Burnley as well. I mean, that's massive, that.
I had Burnley down as 21, but looking at Flea's video of his goal when he turned, it looks like he's 27.
Yeah. Warren's been 21 all season, so I'm not sure.
Oh, yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know why I thought it was 21. Yeah, he's 20. He's 27. I mean, what's the highest shirt number player we've actually got on his books now? It's probably Ma with 31. I don't think we've got 31. You know, because nobody. Where's Aaron Martin, Luke? Is he injured? Oh, he's ill, isn't he?
He's injured. Yeah, that's why I would have included. I think they're saying he could be back for Saturday. However, Wild seems to be very cautious when he's bringing players back. I think Lewis
that's
said that
true.
on the fan cam.
I was just thinking because Aaron Martin took number 9 because we didn't have a number 9 at the beginning of the year.
Yeah,
you know, and the likes of your McDonough and Stenson are 14 and 15. So yeah. I think 31 was probably highest.
I want to ask you about Matty Stenson. Now, he played that game against Eastleigh. I thought he was pretty good. And we haven't seen him since. Obviously, we've had the 2 additions with Zach Deanley and Aaron Martin who've come in and done a magnificent job. Well, Zach Deanley's played literally 5 minutes and scored. But, could you see him ever play for Halifax Town again? And please be honest.
I don't think he will, unfortunately. I think he's going to be a case of what if, you know, in that game where he looked good, he took the knock to his knee, and I just knew, here we go again. He's going to be missing for months now. So it's unfortunate because there clearly is a player in there, but I just don't think we're going to be seeing him again if he's going to, just because if he does make another appearance, I think it'll probably just be a one-off at this point. Maybe 2 games if he's lucky, because I just don't think he gets in over any of our current strikers as well. That's
he had so much potential, I thought, as well against Eastleigh, and then he had that slight injury, and we haven't seen him since. I could possibly see him coming on loan and maybe added to the squad next season. However, I highly doubt
his contract's up at the end of this year.
I doubt he'll sign another contract, unfortunately. Rob, what are your thoughts then on?
To be honest, Luke, I don't know. You know, I know that the manager said that he left quite a strong 5-a-side team behind at the weekend.
Yeah,
we went down to Weymouth. You know, so you can only have so many people, can't you? And what goes on Monday to Friday on the training pitch, we don't know. So, you know, I'm no good at predicting team lineups. So I genuinely don't know.
As Lewis pointed out, with Jamie Allen being an impact sub, Jerry McDonough could. I think he still has a part to play this season. You know, he was one player I looked at the beginning of the season, and I thought, will he still be here at Christmas? Probably not. And you know, Wild seems to be trusting him with extra time. You know, used to just be the last couple of minutes, last 10, last 15. He's expanding it out. I really feel McDonough's got something to offer this season.
Yeah,
could be a cult hero. The way that Hattersley almost kept us up in 2016, it was like, where have you been?
Yeah, I mean, from a tactical point of view, if you do go with that sort of target man down the middle in Aaron Martin, then I think McDonough is your perfect backup option. I mean, I actually, when he was on loan at Kettering, I actually went to watch him against Chorley, and honestly, I'd say he was Kettering's best player. He was all over the place.
He scored, didn't he, as well? I think he scored for Kettering.
Yeah, he scored a fair few goals for them. So he definitely has that bit of ability. So I think he's one that will end up being right, putting our faith in and playing the long game with him.
When he's come on against, especially when it's quite tight games, like, for example, the Notts County game he came on. He came on in both games in that game, I believe he came on and did a great job. And he's that big striker you don't really want to mess with as a defender. I know.
Did we win the home game against Notts County?
He got brought
with him on the pitch.
Yeah, that was that. He was on the pitch. He came and he did.
He got a yellow card because he mixed it. He started mixing their defence up. He got booked pretty a few minutes into it, but again, that's it. You see, he worried that back line, and I mean, the club have put the full 90 minutes up on YouTube, and it's I'm glad they did that.
Yeah, I like the look of Jerry McDonough as a potential backup striker. However, could I see him breaking into the side? I don't really potentially see that.
I don't think he'll break into the side, Luke. I just think he's going to have an impact in some way this season. Either he'll set a goal up or he's going to score. I just think he has a part to play before the season's end.
Yeah. Lewis, what's your thoughts on that then?
Yeah, again, I very much agree with the shout that he does have his part to play, really, because he's shown what he's capable of, whether it be at Kettering or in the few appearances he's made for us off the bench. So, yeah, I'd love him to get a goal for us at some point, especially if it's a big one, because I do think he deserves it at this point.
Yeah, we've already got
a goal at West Riding.
Yeah, we've already got a song for him as well. I know he came on against Notts County, and everyone was singing the Harry Maguire song, but changing the words to Jerry McDonough. So yeah, he seems a very, very good player to bring on from the bench and mix up the defence a bit, and has quite strong defensive work coming back from corners, etc. too. Now, this is something I wanted to ask you about. How important will the fans be on Saturday's game? Now, it has been a mixed bag. Like, for example, we went to Notts County away. The atmosphere was rocking that game. Even at home, like, you've got Grimsby at home. We've got Wrexham at home. Boreham Wood at home. It was rocking as well. But then it seems to dip, like, without any real thought of it. Like, Barnet at home, for example, it was, I don't want to say poor, but it was slightly flat for that game, the atmosphere.
I mean, Wilde's taken notice of that as well from his interview with the Courier today. He said that he wants it to improve, but I think given the fact that it's Dover, they won't bring that many. I think it will just be another flat atmosphere, unfortunately, which is a little bit disappointing, because you've seen, in the big games like Notts County where the fans have driven us over the line, and so it'd be nice to have a good atmosphere again, but I just don't think it'll be the case on Saturday.
I think in a way it needs a good atmosphere, because it's against a side like Dover where they're going to put 11 men behind the ball, the pitch isn't in best condition, and you need, especially in that second half when you're facing, well, which it usually is unless they turn us around, when you're facing the south stand, you need it to be rocking. And I know there's a few regulars who try to get it going, but it's weird. Like, I sometimes come with, my mate sometimes comes with me, and we usually stand at the top for them sort of games, and like Grimsby as well, and it were packed, and I literally couldn't see the game. I couldn't care because the atmosphere was that good. But then you get in other games. I was at Barnet, and I looked at the top, and there were literally 10 people there, and you're thinking, where have you all gone? You were here for the Boreham Wood game or Grimsby game, and it's quite inconsistent, I think the word is, with the Halifax fans at times. We go away though, and it's always rocking. ShaymenStats, what's your thoughts on that?
I think all teams up and down the country have the same sort of issues. There's no clubs that truly have that like electric atmosphere for 90 minutes.
Yeah.
There's it's a bit like, I get that it's like the team have to give fans something to cheer about, and they can feed off the supporters in turn. If we start well against Dover, we did start well against Dover to get the fans on side. But yeah, I think all clubs, it's just something that happens. Away fans tend to put a bit more effort into try to support and chant and do, and look at Grimsby. Grimsby brought 1,000, and other than at the beginning of the game, you didn't really hear a peep out of them. And that's my second pop at Grimsby in this video cap. But you literally, after maybe 5-10 minutes, you didn't really hear a peep out of them. Same for Stockport. It's just, I think that's just modern football.
It is quite inconsistent, and you sort of get that. Even like your Wrexhams and especially your Chesterfields. 1 minute, I know I watch a young lad, he does Wrexham vlogs, and he did one for Bournemouth. The atmosphere seemed incredible, and then you saw one at Kings Lynn at home, and it were very poor, and probably worse than. You're
gonna have an atmosphere where you can pull in 8,000 and 10,000. There's just an atmosphere just because there's that many people there. So.
An example of when the atmosphere's improved over the course of the game probably was that Dagenham game. Now, we came in and I thought, don't be another game where the atmosphere is going to be flat. And we got 20 minutes in, we scored early, and then it was rocking from then on until the end of the game. And hopefully the lads can do that against Dover if the atmosphere isn't rocking from the start. And I think probably the lads will be saving the atmosphere for Tuesday night. Rob, what's your thoughts on that?
I think it'll be rocking on Saturday, because when they see these new caps we've got for sale and new scarves, and it's what the fans wanted, I think there'll be a lot of giddy people going, I've got one, I'm really excited. And, I think it all adds to the atmosphere. They'll be waving them scarves above their head. There'll be caps in there when we score. it's proper exciting, Luke. I'm giddy already. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the atmosphere.
You should be able to sell quite a few in East Stand with the sun that shines in everybody's eyes in first half.
Yeah.
So I think hats could be quite popular on the concourse, definitely. But just getting back to the supporters, I think we have to almost remember we can still actually stand up. We've got one of the biggest terracings left in England that's still in use. And I know it's something I think of quite a lot. It's like we're actually quite lucky to have a terrace. If you do stand up, you don't sit down, we've still got an actual terrace where you can stand up. And I think standing up at football affects the atmosphere. But we're no different to any other team up and down the country, really, to be honest.
I think before we do conclude this podcast, there will be hopefully another fan cam coming out. I did introduce that against Barnet. There should also be a vlog as well coming on. Lewis, I'll remember to try keep your face in this time. I know you were slightly out last time if you do come on. Hopefully there should be a vlog and there'll be loads of post-match reaction too. Finally, for anyone who's interested, I did actually do a preview with a Dover fan a couple of weeks ago, Matthew Gerard, a bit more of an insight on Dover Athletic. I know I think there's one or two Dover fans watching right now. So if you would like to see that, then I will leave a link in the description. Also, finally, I forgot to mention this, the Non-League Bible Awards do conclude in literally 2 weeks. So I would appreciate it if you could vote for me. I'll try to leave a link in the description for that too, if I remember. Thank you to the guests who've come on tonight. Lewis, thanks for coming on. Rob, thanks for coming on. And ShaymenStats, thanks for coming on. We'll see you again for Sunday's podcast. And up the Shaymen. I think we're going to get the 3 points on Sunday. Saturday, sorry. Up the Shaymen.
Go on, Shaymen. Come on.
Glory shone around upon